What up, everyone? Switch Double here. As always, a Friday, and it's time for another stream. Well, I don't know what's to do today, actually, on my stream, though. I first thought maybe doing a casual stream, but yeah, it's not what's gonna happen since Game Guy is usually one to take part of those, but he might not even join in the stream at all since his throat is literally killing him. So yeah, he has a bit of sore throat, so yeah, he won't be doing that. And I hadn't even done any stores on my channel or for my channel for since before Christmas, uh, and that won't be until next. And I won't be doing any more stores for the next 2 weeks. Just going to still relax. I really worked my butt off in order to do those Christmas stores last year. So I'm still gonna work on some more stores the next after 2 more weeks. Then I will go back to stores again. And which ones? Yeah, I don't know first exactly which story to start working on. It's just I have so many stories have been asked over the years. So try to narrow down some stories. Um, I did actually last year said I was going to do work on my newest audio series, Journey to Alcohol Land. I did work on it, but I was even supposed to be posted those chapters on my channel last year. That didn't happen. But I have actually already been worked on that audio series. I have 4 chapters already been recorded and saved as a video, and there's only like I think it's like 4 to 5 chapters left to be taken care of. I have the titles for them, but I had just not worked on them at the moment. At least, well, technically, the fifth chapter has been well a bit small worked on it, but I actually really had to say, well, in general, I just put it aside. It's just that I don't remember. I don't even remember the last time I worked on it. I think it was like I think it was middle to late summer of 2024. So yeah, I believe it was that at least. So um, so yeah, and that was another also reason that why I did not work as much since a few of my friends had a birthday in summer and late summer around early September, early autumn. So that might have been one of a few reasons. So so yeah, but since I haven't done any stores lately, I actually been working on several new quests for my Gagel stream. Currently I'm being worked on another space quest. It's like the fourth one that I have. Um, I have done a few others. Let's go see here. Uh, I mean, I do have at least one quest for Hotel Transylvania. Not include just only the movies, but also that might be even include the TV show that's about Hotel Transylvania when long before Mavis actually met up with Johnny. And about that, as been many people have probably seen the franchise of Hotel Transylvania, been many ask, what about Johnny? Since Mavis is a full-blood vampire, and as in the last movie, she's like in her early 120 years old, something like that, or at least 120 to 125 at least. So many fans may have wondered how there's not going to be any more movies in that franchise, since the Transformania was the last one they made. So many fans have been wondered, what about Johnny? Johnny might even he's still a full-blood human. So will he still remain as a human and die of old age? Maybe, maybe not. But at the same time, I really don't think so. Maybe at some point that Johnny might be turning into vampire from by the from his wife Van Mavis. I mean, I think that's more likely that he would be doing. But then another other thing, as so what about like what is the lifespan about the vampires? Well, since Vlad, Dracula's father, he's actually over 2,000 years old. So he'd been living for 2 millennia. But the vampires in the series, in the franchise, is immortal. So regardless if they live for 2,000 years, 5,000 years, or even 10,000 years, they will still be alive. But here's some of the things. We know for the fact that Dracula is, well, a few hundred years old. Maybe it's just not even, she's close to one, almost it is early, close to 150 years old. So, and Vlad, which is 2,000 years old plus, and there is even one vampire that's 4,000 years old, according to the franchise. But then, but since there has only been one known hybrid, what about Dennis? What about Mavis and Johnny's son Dennis? He's a half vampire. And since the full blood vampires in the series can live for several thousands of years without even aging, well, actually, would eventually their bodies will age. Look, may look older, but what about Johnny's and Mavis' son, Dennis? Will he still remain as? I mean, since he's half vampire, half human, will he be? Will he die at some point, or is he even had immortality like the rest of the families are? No, no, no. Considering that Mavis' son Dennis is half vampire, half human, I have to say it's very possibility that he is immortal, despite that he's just half of that. But I'm also curious though. I mean, the rest of the families, like say when Dennis, when Mavis and then Johnny got married, their wedding photo, well, only showed him, of course, as a typical the vampires doesn't show up on the photos, recordings, anything, except when Dennis, if any video recording, any photos of him, he appears because that is due to the fact of his human heritage. I'm actually surprised since since Vinny, the daughter of Wanda and Wayne, is she claimed that she is in love with Dennis. Assuming from this one thing, um, if Dennis and Winnie would have a child of them together, that child would not even be would be like part vampire, part human, and part werewolf. So the question is, how would that even look like? And would the still child still be able to somehow transform to a bat? And I mean, who knows? It's kind of a unique, interesting point of view on that. But at the same time, Dennis, at the first, he really appreciates Vinny as his friend, but every time when she tries to make some like trying to confess to him or at least trying to hints that she's in love with him, it makes him feel uncomfortable. So it just imagine that if they manage to even get married and have a child, yeah, that's kind of surprising though. But there is two things about the Hotel Transylvania that makes a plot twist. In the first movie, near the end, uh, Dracula freezes everyone on the stage, including his own daughter. But in the last movie, he claims he makes it that when he did that again, Mavis was not even affected. So that's another thing about it. That's a plot twist. They made it really like an error in the first and the last of the Hotel Transylvania movies. But there is another plot twist. In the first movie, when Mavis and Johnny sing like really like ding like a first love in first sight, and as for Dracula, and or less for Martha, Mavis' late mother explained in her in her um, in her birthday gift about sing. Like they sing only once in a lifetime. So Dracula and Martha sing for the first time when they were long before Mavis was even born. So here's the thing: in the third movie, when they are going to this summer vacation on the cruise, Dracula actually sing again in Erika Van Helsing, the great granddaughter of Abraham Van Helsing. And that's not a problem. That's another plot twist. If the first movie they explained that they only sing once in a lifetime, so if singing like sing, or they fell in love in the first sight, since Martha and Dracula fell in love in the first like in the first movie, and since Martha in her book to her daughter as a birthday gift explains that, so why hasn't that makes sense in the third movie when Dracula somehow fell in love with Erica? It's kind of how strange that is. And that's another thing. Since Dracula, he proposed to Erica in the third movie, and he and then he ended up how married with her in the fourth movie. So is that means that Erica will also be turned to vampire so that she can be living with him for the rest of his life? I don't know. And we have Arc Wolfers here. Hey, Brony. Yeah, it's kind of a strange how saying um well, and since if Dracula ended up marrying Erica, which they actually did in the fourth movie, but at that point, will she even turn to vampire by Dracula? Maybe. But since they hadn't even actually made any form of, well, any other explanation, if they continue the franchise of more movies in the future, like exploring the possibilities of Dracula and Erica have their own child together, which makes Dracula Mavis would have a half sibling. But sadly, the fourth movie of Hotel Transylvania is the final movie they made. That was kind of a bit sad because that franchise was actually kind of funny though. Seeing how this was how Frank the Frankenstein monster turned human, and how Griffin the Invisible Man turned complete visible and all that. I mean, it's kind of strange of how that franchise did how it turned out, but there were some people that didn't even like the last movie. Some really thought that just how to say it derailed, like it just not really much spoke out in that perspective. But there are also some other movies not in that franchise, but within the Disney. Considering that the Disney's most recent um, Mufasa movie, it kind of going against the whole original timeline. That I can say at least for one character, Scar. In the Lion Guard, he explains to the snake that who works for him that he got his scar from another snake. But in the latest movie of Mufasa, it explained that he got the scar from a different sort, a different way. So it's just how this. contradict how the whole things turn out. Can anyone even explain how that Disney even thought of that? Explain it as an explanation. So it's like this. The question is, which one, if the newest movie, if it even considered as canon? Think about it. As for the first movie, ever since before the sequel was even made, there were actually a lot of different uh, books, comics that was introduced, like telling more of the sidelines of the side story of the first movie, like telling more about the characters' backstory and all that. Like, but when they were introducing like some more other background characters, like not, but some other other relatives to Simba and Mufasa. I think they were in one of the earliest works they made from the first movie afterwards was Simba's great 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 grandfather, and even including the very first king of the Pride Lands, who was the very founder of the Pride Lands monarch. And that's another thing. And even though back then, in that movie, those books, they wouldn't have an explanation like they're. And another thing, the only thing that very much contradict, very much match with Scar in the Lion Guard and the newest movie is that Mufasa was the one who gave Scar his nickname Scar. So that is the only part that match. But there are still some contradiction in how the much of this were surprising. Like in the Lion Guard, um, in the first in this of the most um, um, of the Lion King is that in the earlier works in the sequel of Simba's Treasure, when Kiara was born, originally Kuvu would have been Scar's biological son. But that would have been kind of a bit strange if you ask me, though, because if that would have been the case, Kuvu and Kiara would not have been cousins. And, well, let's say it would have been given the wrong sign, the sign of the viewers. Because, yeah, which is also kind of a strange. But the Lion Guard and the newest Mufasa movie. Question is, if the newest Mufasa movie is even considered as canon, it's just that there are some parts in that movie that really really goes against the whole original franchise. Like in the newer movie, Scar, or as his real name was Taka, was the actual um, the rightful heir to the throne, and Mufasa was his stepbrother or his adopted brother. So yeah, it's kind of how it's strange. But they introduced white lions in a new movie, and I don't know if they're actual white or if they're albino lions or anything. I don't know. And another thing is, in the earlier works before Kion was even part of the series. Oh wait, Malachite is here. Um,
Mm.
so it's this is how like even before Kion was even part of the whole franchise, there was another cub named Koba, but he later was redesigned as Kion. And yeah, it's kind of strange if you ask me though about this new whole franchise for now, as which one is considered questioning which one is canon and non-canon. Malachi? It's like the Disney's
Mm.
and the spin-off series with Timon and Pumbaa, where they include humans and the modern world. It's just another thing about it. Like I don't even that consider that as a canon series at all. More like a non-canon source because Sure, they include some main characters like Simba, uh, Susu, Rafiki, and a few others like that. But still, it's just to me, it's not really canon. And but even if they were have been considered like the original Lion King and the Lion Guard and those other movies, okay, and like Lion King 3.5, like the backstory of how Timon and Pumbaa met up. Okay, in that point of view, I don't think that's a bad idea because there were probably some fans out there who wondered how did he even met up in the first place because Timon he was part of a meerkat colony and Timon or Pumbaa well he he was a loner due to the fact of his farce and all that. So I was really curious how Timon and Pumbaa actually became up as best friends. And when they made that movie, I even though there were some, even though I really much didn't like much of the movie itself, but it was a nice touch of them to even to include how the backstory of how they actually met up. And yeah, it was actually not bad. And having a little bit more also bit of backstory of uh, how they raised Simba over the years. Ever because in the first movie they only seeing him from a cub and when he was a full-grown lion, but in the 3.5 movie of Lion King, they actually gave us a little bit of more background when he was a how to say a teenager, I guess it was. And okay, I was like at least a backstory about Simba and how the Lion King. It's just yeah, and the in the first movie, and you cannot deny that scene of Timon like making that hula hula dance. That wasn't even originally part of the whole script originally. And from my understanding,
Mm.
from what I heard about it, is that they couldn't even. There was actually one of the people that worked on the movie saw this homeless man dancing, and he included those
Mhm.
movements in the movie for that. And that part, that is actually one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. It's, I mean, Timon and Pumbaa are a perfect comedy pair.
I mean, who's to say Timon was the only one who had a lovely pair of coconuts?
Have you seen? Yeah, I mean, okay. How about this? Could you even imagine Cody the Darkhawk in that position?
If he lost some weight first.
Oh, wow. Okay. or even, or Kubo. Well, first of all, you need to shave, Kubo. Oh man,
Just think of all the shaving cream he needs to use on his hair and beard.
dude, I don't think probably need I don't know more than one can, probably like at least 10 of them, and I think you probably need a lot more to cut his beard and hair. Tangled mess. Have you seen Hotel Transylvania by any chance?
Only I mean, the first one's actually not too bad, honestly. Except Quasimodo was just full of himself, stupid.
Yeah, and there is actually you know, there is two other movies that really kind of that make a complete mess. In the first movie, near the end, Dracula, and when he's on the stage, he snaps his fingers, and both um, Wayne, Frank, and I don't know if Murray, and including Mavis, complete freeze. But in the fourth movie, the most recent the one they made, he did it again, and the whole crowd freezes. Not even Mavis, when he remembers that it doesn't even affect vampires. And that was the thing that they made a complete mess on that part. And another thing that also is that include from the first and the third movie. In the first movie, when Dracula gave uh, Mavis her late mother's birthday gift for her 118th birthday, is that when she mentioned that the scene was that when they fell in love only happened once in a lifetime. And that happened to Dracula and Martha when many years before, well, sometimes before Mavis was even born. So, here's the play. Here's the play. Not the play, but here's the thing. In the third movie, in when they have this summer cruise, he fell in love with Erika Van Helsing, the great granddaughter to Abraham Van Helsing. That's another one of those plot twists missed they actually made. Because if it's supposed to only happen once in a lifetime, why would it happen to again for Dracula? It kind of straight. I can understand if there was Erika who fell in love with Dracula, but he didn't have the same thing to him, to her. But that was the plot twist. But there is another thing about the vampires in this case, about Johnny and maybe son Dennis. Since he's half vampire and half human, it's like since Vlad, Mavis' grandfather, he is 2,000 years old and immortal, and Dracula is around, I think, 500 to 600 years old or something like that, and he's also immortal. And Mavis was in the last movie at probably 120 and 125 years old, something like that. So she is a full-blood human, a vampire. So she will be immortal. And there is actually one vampire in that only was mentioned in the well, actually, were mentioned several times in the Hotel Transylvania series that was 4,000 years old and was still alive. And that's just the thing. What about Dennis? Since he is half human, half vampire, will he be mortal, or does that only give him just maybe just a longer lifespan, but that he would eventually die of old age, rather from living for 100 years, maybe that he live to this, I don't know, maybe 400 years, and then kick the bucket. And that's the thing. Even though he has all those iconic powers like turn the bats, flying, strength, hypnotic look, and all that, and but there's another thing. The vampires, as for Mavis Johnny in the wedding, their wedding photo showing only him. Cause I mean, typically as the iconic vampires don't even show up in mirrors or anything. But for Dennis, he does. Well, that effect of he's half vampire, half human. And he can be walking around the daylight without any problem. Because again, he's half human. But you know, um, as in the first movie when they're introducing Vimy, the daughter of Wanda and Wayne, throughout the second movie and onwards, she claimed that Dennis is her saint. Like she is in love with him. I mean, he very much appreciated her as being his friend and all, and he felt comfortable to be with her as a friend, like in the third movie when they're on the cruise and all. But he actually feels a little bit uncomfortable when her constant trying convincing him that they are meant to be. Because in one scene, I think it was in the fourth movie, when she is literally having her face against his shoulder, trying to make him look, which made him feel a little more uncomfortable than he were. So here's the thing, though. Uh, if that if Winnie and Dennis have a child, it would be part vampire, part human, and part werewolf. So I may wonder. So what parts that will be the most prominent in a vampire human werewolf hybrid? I don't even know for sure how that's going to turn out. But there is the only known. This is not even part of the Hotel Transylvania franchise, but within the Vampire Diaries, there is actually uh, I think it was a form of hybrid that's both can part vampire, human, and werewolf, and even part vampire, part witch, part werewolf. And this here's the thing, another thing. In Vampire Diaries, they were a family that's considered the original vampires. If they had killed any of those original vampires and any other vampires that was turned by them and who later turned other humans into vampires, every single one of them would eventually would die if the original vampire was killed. I was really surprised of that though. But yeah, that's just how Slash is. And vampires? Well, vampires have been around in the world for countless of centuries. Today we know them as vampires. But in Eastern Europe, like in a very, very far back in, not long before medieval times, they were known as Stragoli.
Um,
So, yeah, and there's only one known vampire story from my country that I know of. It's
I will apologize if you hear the TV in the background. My uncle's playing Conflict Global Terror.
mm,
Just letting you know.
yeah. Um, but Monica, do you believe? Are you familiar or aware of any vampire stories in the US or in your state?
Not really.
I'm not even aware of any. The only one is the only Swedish vampire story I came across. This story is actually even on YouTube, but unfortunately, none of you guys will even understand that since it's in Swedish language, not in English. It's about a sea captain who has retired for many years on being on the sea. He and his sister and a maid bought a small cabin, or well, a small cottage outside a small town where they were living. This was like in the 1700s, I believe. And for the first time after they bought the place, everything seems to be peaceful. But eventually, the former captain he started feeling how to say if there's that someone or something was present in his room at night. Because one time he was about to lit a candle, something grabbed his arm, and it was a cold hand. Another thing is that when he was asleep, no joke, he could feel that someone's breath on his neck. And he started feeling weaker and weaker. And he did notice that he has this puncture mark on his neck that didn't heal. So he was told maybe that he perhaps should leave the country and go on back to the sea for a while to refresh. And so he did. And it actually helped. because shortly after after he left Sweden to be on a ship on the sea again, he started to recover. But when he came back home, he found out that his sister had now fallen ill, and she had the same punch marks on her neck and wasn't even healing. But he didn't know exactly what the cause of all this. Then the village older man, like elder man, actually came a visit to the elder man is like the leader, like the wise man, or like a councilman or something like that. But he came to this captain's home telling the story that a few years earlier there was a shipwreck out the coast, and no one had survived except for a strange man, a pale, strange man, what he called Yakko. And eventually he also died from some time afterwards, and he was buried just only about behind the cabin or the cottage where the captains live. So the elder man and the captain went to they dug up the grave, and when they actually pulled up the coffin's edge of it, or at least when they opened the coffin, they saw that Jacko was still pretty much well preserved, and he looked exactly the same the day he died, except fresh blood on his mouth. So the elder man he took out a large knife and well stabbed the corpse, and and Jacko somehow screamed out of pain, and the whole body crumbled to dust. So they eventually they summoned the village priest to read some prayers on for the grave, or at least the coffin, and they reburied the coffin, and they even planted a certain plant as a cross. And ever since then, no one has ever been bothered by the vampire ever again. So the question is like, if that's any of that story is true, but has many stories and as as many stories and myths and legends, there's always some form of truth in those stories. Regardless, there's always some truth in some stories about any legends, even like the Bible. There's some historical accounts in that turn out to be true. So it's just saying that some basic legends and stories may actually have some truth, like even urban legends. So I've been doing
Mm.
though, Mister. How you been doing though, Mister Malachite?
Yeah, not so much. I asked Cody if he wanted to join it. He said, "Nah, he's good."
Mm, yeah, thought so. And yeah, in game guys not jogging in since his throat is a bit sore, and yeah, I know for a fact that's like it's not a fun time to even though, and especially if your throat is sore like that, it's not really worth it being joining and being talking nonstop for say 2 to 3 hours without it only getting more sore eventually. So it's not really worth to push yourself into that. And yeah, and to myself, well, I really haven't done much today except it was well, turned out my parents actually went to was going to the store. My mom needed some new weighted boots, so I was well. My mom was about to take the dog out for a walk, but since I was about to this was like in the early afternoon, like say 1 p.m. or like that. So I was like, I can't take the dog out for a walk since my parents were even were supposed if they were going out for a dog and they had to go return home and I would have been dog watch. So I was like, why not? I wanted to take it some. I needed to take a walk and get some fresh air. So I did. So I took it slow. So I took the dog out for a short walk. I came home. Didn't do much. And the temperature was a bit cold, like 8 degrees. But I did have thick gloves and a beanie on my head and all that. But after a while, I took them off because it was getting too warm, especially for having a beanie on my head, like a hat on my head. It's getting like, oh man, it's getting hot. So I took it off and put it in my pocket. So after that, I passed by a small convenience store where I live, just bought something to drink, and just went home. And that's it. I haven't done much except watching some TV and been working on some quiz. Currently, I'm working on the fourth new space quiz, and it's about a bit more halfway from the. I think it's like about question 50, and I I have done two more quiz of gummy bears, Disney show, and yeah, I'm just been bored. Even though I just like why not? And I also did one quiz yesterday about the Avatar, like the last Airbender or that. So, but that's not the only one I've done. I think I've done some more. Let's see. Well, for the past week or so, I've been done two Star Wars Legend and one Star Wars Canon quiz though. And even though I said once before, I'm not doing any more cryptic quests, but yeah, actually, I'm been start working on the 35th, like 35 quest by now. But that one, it's only a couple of questions in it. So I thought maybe we could do a smash and pass maybe tomorrow. Well, that depends if game guys are feeling better for that. So I do have for my smash and pass. Let's see. Oh, I have two folders. That's one is 50 characters and one is 48. But the one that has 50 will actually not be in an actual stream. That will be in like an after stream since there were there were like very seductive type of pictures like bikinis and all that. So yeah, they are not going to be in it. I do have four files. One is a Disney edition, one Marvel edition, one Pokemon and Star Wars edition for Smash and Pass. But those four files has not even been worked on though. And so, and for the Pokemon, I was thinking of like actual Pokemon, like not the trainers or anything, just the Pokemon themselves, but as anthropomorphic, like human-like features. Um, and that won't be any problem. I mean, after all, there are like over 1,000 Pokemon out there. And when it comes to like uh Pokemon that has multiple evolutions, like say like Charizard, yep, different. Or Eevee, but 8 evolution forms. Oh yeah, I will take all the 8 Eevee evolutions as for Smash and Pass as humanoid shapes. And for Marvel and Pokemon or Star Wars, yeah, Star Wars itself won't be that much a problem since there are many female characters. Marvel, that might be tricky. Since I only know like a handful of characters from that series or that franchise. Disney, no, that wouldn't be not any problem. Hangman. Excuse me. Too much Angry Bird. Yep, and I've been drinking energy drinks. Um, I say letter A. Do you want me to change my
well,
name?
it is. Well, it is your first. It is your first stream of the new year, so it wouldn't hurt to do a little bit of Hangman.
Yeah, why not? Do you want me to change the name as for like Diablo with the letters H, like the game guy does?
Mm, you don't have to, but it's up to you.
Yeah, why not? Could be fun. Oh man, I haven't we haven't seen much of the other friends in the streams like the
Yeah, I'm
twins
actually
or
getting a little bit worried about our buddy Dashi because I hadn't role played with him since nearly before uh Christmas.
last time I heard from him, it was like I think it was like before Christmas, but that's it. Um, I haven't heard any much from like directly from Lord, but he had appeared
Or
on
Packers
Discord a
fan.
few. Packers fan. He last time he was in it was over about a month, sometimes last year, way before Christmas. That I know of. Hayden actually were in my stream. I think it was last week, or was it? I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago. But he was only there for
I
a
can't
short
tell.
time.
I can't tell you. There's 9 A's in this puzzle.
Oh damn! A joke. Um,
No, a joke would be if I said that all the spaces were A's.
dude. Well, um, I can go with say T, like in tree.
Mm-hmm.
But the other few people that we haven't seen in a while in my streams, which is Stormy. But I mean, that makes sense. After all, he was like in junior high or something like that. So the twins hadn't been in my streams, or they were the last time they were. That was also way before Christmas season. I think sometime in the last autumn. Mm, since they actually been working right now in a factory, so Taylor
Four
hasn't
T's,
even
by the way.
whoa, and the Taylor hasn't even been in the stream either since he might even be busy with his family, traveling around, or something like that. So I wouldn't even know. I say P, Pat Diablo. But there are in fact some people that's other than
There's not a single P in this puzzle.
huh. Well, that's surprising there. Um. Well, then I say S. But yeah, some of our friends hadn't been on the stream for a while.
There's there's not a single S as well.
God dang it! Hmm. How about then? E. Hmm. But we haven't seen Cody hasn't much of any much either much lately. You know, they are, but I'm surprised that Diana hasn't even been around anymore. She was just there and just gone.
Two E's. I'm not gonna joke about there not being any E's.
Hmm. I say oh. There is one person that will never be in more any more streams. That would be Game Guy's brother Jake, since he passed away in an accident a couple of years now. No, but he were in fact in a stream. I think two, three times perhaps, only for a brief time, for a brief moment. So, but of our friends, there are a few people that we haven't seen in a while. Others just, you know, that actually hasn't even been in the industry either in a while. So, but one of them that most of them haven't seen much of is well, it's Koval
Lord.
and Lord. As a D.
Yeah, there's three O's. Um,
Hmm. But
you
yeah, they
see,
haven't seen much.
D. No D's.
Hmm. As a R.
Two of those.
Okay, how about this? How about this next? Hmm. I say L. But I mean, speaking of Diana, though, it's kind of how strange that she just disappeared. And I'm just surprised that she made so many counts. Like, make one count and delete one, and you make a new one, and you know, it's kind of a bit strange how that happened, though.
Hmm. Four L's.
Hmm. I say N. Yeah, it's okay, game guy. It's fine. He's still tired, and his throat still hurts. It's fine. It's fine. I was like that. I know that's like so. Yeah, I thought maybe I would do the stream for maybe an hour and a half most. Oy. I say K. I say I. Dr. Padleonsky Diablo. That's a good name.
You said
Sound it.
you said I next.
Yep. The one has a little small dot on it.
There's three of those.
Oh, dang it, I can't even use that later. Um, yeah. Okay, this is a letter that usually don't pick early on, but I say X.
No X.
Hmm. I say U.
Two of those.
I say M. Hmm. I say B. I say H. I say why.
Nope.
I say W.
None of those either.
I say G. G. I say C.
And that will leave one more letter.
I say V. A single V. Man. Ugh. And I have no idea what that is. At least Leviathan I recognize what it is, and Tiamat is a goddess or god in from the Sumerian legends. But others, I don't even recognize the names.
Well, looking up, if I do believe there are actually dragons in mythology.
Leviathan would be like a sea dragon, and
It's
Tiamat,
big as a sea dragon, sea serpent.
yeah, and Tiamat. If I know for a fact it's for the Sumerian legend or mythology. Um, it's another like a dragon, also an sea dragon. All right then. Hope you're ready for this one.
And also, the second one, I know that dragon is Japanese mythology.
Hmm.
It's a legendary eight-headed dragon,
Hmm. It sounds about right.
and it is wicked looking. It is wicked looking.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let me hold on, man. I'm gonna try to find one picture here before I do is, and I also need a title. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Eight-headed dragon. Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon. That was a movie dragon.
Hmm.
Are you gonna give a category?
Oh, right.
E. There has to at least be one of those in there.
E, you say? Hmm. Nope. No E's. No single E.
This is turning into a bullshit puzzle already.
Well, I mean, this, I can say it's a
A.
movie. Huh? What would you say?
I said A.
A. Um, let's go see there. Wait. One A. It's really part of a long franchise that has been around for decades, since the 50s, I believe. I haven't even seen this one myself. I've seen previous other movies.
Z.
C, like the one, the last letter.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are shooting off fireworks this time. It's only one single Z.
Is that in the wrong spot? Because you said 50, so I had a feeling which one it was.
Hang on. Whoops. I could be wrong. Let's see here.
Yeah, I figured. Um, L.
Lace Diablo.
Or Zale the Diablo. Zale.
Two L's.
G. I'll say O.
Four O's.
D.
Only one D.
I.
One I.
Mm, S.
Two S.
And I'll solve it. Godzilla Tokyo SOS.
Yep.
2003 movie.
I haven't seen that though. I know there is actually a few animated movies of Godzilla. And of course, the only Godzilla movies that's American one that I really disliked, the one from 1998, for were for a really good reason. Because if you're looking at the more recent Godzilla movies they made, where like King Kong and King Ghidorah and all that, he looked very similar to the Japanese version of the Godzilla. But the, from 1998, it was more like a giant mutated leguana. In fact, it didn't even have the iconic atomic breath, and there was even there was slim, like not the like the bulky one, and despite those spikes on his back and his arms, and it looks like more like a leguana slash T-Rex type of monster, not like an actual Godzilla. So Godzilla was more the classical one from the 50s and onwards, and from Japan was more a lot better. Of course, even Japan from from the 50s and onwards, from the 60s and the 70s and all the way to the early 2000s, sure there have been different designs of it also. Like could have been that he was more bulkier, his arms could have been a bit longer, could have been shorter, his spikes could have been longer, shorter. His tail could have been a lot more thicker or it's more slim. They were basically though the very same thing. Only that the even though Japan's versions of Godzilla did change slightly over the years. And even though the most recent ones of America done, okay, he matches at least some of the basic designs from Japan, which I really appreciate that they kept from that. But the from 1998 version, it was really different. Even though they actually made a one series of Godzilla and Godzilla Jr., who was actually friendly and very actually had some human friends, and that group of friends could actually summon Godzilla at any time. and he would show up and help them. So imagine how many of those other I don't even know. I mean, considering how many different names or different designs of Godzilla out there, and the one that they had King Dora in a Godzilla movie, he did match up much of this original. And Mothra, yeah, it's pretty much the same design. They look like from the Japanese versions, a little bit maybe more advanced designs, but they were really the similar designs and that. And I mean, but the 1998 version wasn't really that much good at all. Even though the word and name titled Godzilla, first time I saw it, I was like, okay, that might be interesting. But when I saw the Godzilla the first time in the movie, I was heavily, deeply disappointed on that one. It didn't even look like it. It looked like a giant Leguana slash T-Rex type of thing. It wasn't even much of this. It didn't even look like anything remotely to as the original Godzilla doll. Honestly, it's. I was really disappointed when they made that one. I mean, can anyone blame it? Though many fans who also probably were might also have been a little disappointed on that, especially in Japan. Like many fans have been, or many Americans who have been growing up, or at least the elder generations have been, or have been aware of the classic Japanese Godzilla movies and grew up watching them, and even younger generations who actually saw them and very much enjoyed them as well. And seeing that 1998, boom, a new American first Godzilla movie, when I saw the design, make just that kind of reminds me of how the very first Sonic character design from 2018. It's pretty much the same thing as for that. Still pretty much the same. I was really disappointed in that design. I mean, I understand if America wanted or the US wanted to make their own version of Godzilla movies and all that, but if you're looking at back all that, that design was, like I said, it didn't match the classic iconic Godzilla.
Oh,
When
I
fans,
got I got one more. I got one more. I'm gonna put him in.
all right, but as like I said, that many fans or many Americans who have been aware of the iconic design of Godzilla, and when they saw the new one of him at back 1998, that design of Godzilla was really much off-putting from as the original iconic one. And I really don't blame the people who really didn't like that type of design of that particular Godzilla. It's I understand that fans like disliked it or even hated it. I wouldn't blame them that. Same thing as for when the Sonic movie came out in 2019. Even though they're supposed to be out 2018, but fans responded very bad of that design. So it's a very the same thing as for that. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if that Godzilla movie from 1998 were supposed to have a sequel or anything afterwards. But yeah, honestly, I was really disappointed when I first saw it. It really didn't look much as the very well. It just it didn't look anything remotely what I wanted to do. Okay, multiple movies, same genre.
Yep, same
Well,
franchise.
I start with T. Um, but like I said, it's just how many did the
Um, you're gonna be laughing when I say there's no T's.
Bravo. I say A. But if you're looking back on it, about that, as you can see, Godzilla 1998. As you can see, if there are any reference, I think I don't know if there were any. No, there weren't any. Uh, okay, there were one design that was unused. That's supposedly looking more than the original, according to this. Uh, okay, it was been the original that movie was they only had uh, awarded for best special effects, but it was worst picture, worst supporting actress, and worst remake or sequel. Like no shit, Charles.
There's 11 A's.
Holy moly! I say R. But if I look in more this, here's the one clip that says Godzilla 1998, the worst Godzilla movie. Oh man, that's just it's surprising. That seriously, it's just how it is.
uh, there's two R's in this whole puzzle.
Hmm. I say I say D. But yeah, many other movies out there, which is throughout the years, has given some movies are pretty good. Some are decent, others are okay, others are terrible, others are just so worse. And some movies, in my opinion, aren't even worth to be looking at. Can be different reasons, like they're just too terrible or they're too graphic. Like the Saw franchise, trust me, torture horror movies are is the last type of movie franchise genre I would never want to watch.
There are
I
six D's.
hmm, I say oh.
Oh crap.
Okay, you're gonna like this name. Um, Doctor Toad, the Diablo in the house. but but still though, some movies that's
There's
like this.
six O's.
Huh? I say
I thought
S.
there would have been more of that, but apparently there wasn't.
But have you ever seen or heard of the um, Saw movies?
I think I saw like the first Godzilla movie particularly.
No. I saw Saw. You know those horror torture movies.
Mm, not really.
I have not even seen any of those, and I'm not even going to. for a really good reason because it's torture, horror. Like thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather keep my food in my stomach rather than being throwing up. That's terrible. It is. It's just not really worth it. Seriously.
Six S's.
I say E. But if you sing from this, there are many movies franchise out there like this, especially genres. Despite how many genres there are, some actually are pretty good to be watching. I don't mind to be watching horror comedy like the uh, Haunted Mansion with Eddie
Three
Murphy, like
E's.
that. I say M.
Two of those.
I say I. I say B.
I'm not done with the eyes yet.
Oh, I think I will have one more. Um,
There are eight
uh,
eyes.
wow. Well, I have only one more um, um, Hangman on my own. Then I decide to end the stream since I don't know if I'm for doing any 2 hours. Even though I have only done stream for about close to 8 to 9 hours of the hours that's been used so far. Um, I will say L, and I have to be muted for a bit. Right, I'm back.
You're back, and there are 13 L's.
Holy shit. Well, how about you?
There are two of those.
How about P?
There's only one P.
I said G.
Yeah, we might as well get that out of the way. Eight G's.
I said C. Not the last letter, C. Or S.
Oh, you meant the last letter.
Mm-hmm. I
Well,
say, I will say
there's six of
C.
them. There's six of them.
Hmm. I say C, the third letter.
Two of those. If you think you know what it is, just solve it.
I say V. I mean, it's differently to see it. Can't really say where some of the words are, but there's one word I can't even say exactly
Well,
what it
there's
is.
three V's.
H. Letter H. I say Y.
Nope.
I will say. Did your uncle say dog hunting or duck hunting?
Duck hunting.
Ah,
He only asked me what you said.
I'll say W. Godzilla something wars. Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's the one movie I don't recognize. But yet, oh man, there are so many Godzilla movies out there. I haven't seen all of them. So yeah, um, I say Q.
Nope. You should have put that Q between the M and B.
Hmm, I say K.
Mm-mm.
I probably I probably used all the letters by now. I don't even reckon. I don't even know which what letters are left of taking with this one. uh, I don't even know which letters are left to take care of from this crazy of yours. Uh, let's see. SABX. I don't even. I don't know for what fact which letter to be picking. There are three letters that I can't pick because one, they aren't even part of the American alphabet, so that's problemless. Uh, which one to pick? Um, you know what? I say F. Oh, that was helpful. Not really. Oh man, you're killing me. Did I use? Yeah, D is taken. Q is taken. Y, U, cheese. See, single V, B, wait. I say N. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and if you read that right now, I will tell you right now, the first one on that list, it does actually look and sound kick butt as a nice sounding movie of that franchise.
Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Godzilla versus Mechason Godzilla. Godzilla Final Wars. Godzilla versus Mega.
Megaguirus.
I can say this are definite Japanese Godzilla franchise, and I
And
can say
which one
I can look.
which one did you not hear about?
That would be the last one.
Megaguirus. That that was released in 2000.
That would have been around also another Godzilla movie, also around early 2000. That would be Final Wars, I believe. But the only one of this one that I have seen is the Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla. at least one of them. That
Final
Mechagodzilla
Wars.
act,
Final Wars was 2004.
yeah. But the Mechagodzilla actually had been were in the Japan's Godzilla franchise a couple of times. So, but I have seen at least one of them. But the later ones they made, the last one was from the early 2000s or like that, I didn't even see any of those.
Mm.
The only ones I have seen from the Japan's Godzilla is when they were in colors, but not the
Did
earlier ones from Japan.
Did you see Destroya, the one they made in 1995?
Uh, that doesn't ring a
D E
bell.
S T O R O Y A H.
Well, I don't know, but there is one. Uh, there is one from the 1989 that's I really enjoyed. That was Godzilla versus Violente. The one that giant first looks like a giant rose, and then later,
1989.
yeah, and when eventually even when it changed from a giant rose into that giant monster with giant mouth like that. Some fans speculate after when that creature died, when the spirit and those spores, some people believe that was the one that actually started created Space Godzilla.
Um, do you know if Godzilla was in Invasion of Astro Monster 1965?
Uh, I want to know. Um, there are. I haven't seen perhaps all of the original Godzilla movies for Japan. I've seen many of them, but may not even seen all of them. But if I have, it must have
Uh,
been so long ago.
oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. An astronaut was sent to Planet X to fetch Rodan, Rodan, and Godzilla.
Well, there is one movie of Godzilla. I don't remember. I don't know from which movie and from which year it was made, but he was dying. His body was building up so much radioactive, and it's that his body was decaying, and what had happened, he would have a meltdown, and it would have made the entire Tokyo inhabit for centuries. But the Japan's military tried to stop from even happened, but they failed. He died, and his body did give us so much radiation in Tokyo. But the thing is, they actually were monitored the radiation levels, and when he died, that level skyrocketed. But here's the thing: after this skyrocket, they dropped to to harmless levels. He died
Mm.
and was reborn. Somehow he reborn himself. I
And
was really surprised of that.
if you're
But there
asking
are
me,
some,
sorry.
but there are some Godzilla movies I haven't maybe even seen in ever seen. But like I said, I haven't seen none of those movies in almost 30 years. I saw most of those movies when I was just a kid, like 5 to 6 years old, or well, between 5 and 7 years old. And they were in texted course. They were texted with like subtitles, but I didn't even read. I just watched them. They were speaking only Japanese, not in English. But even then, I didn't even understand the English language either. So I just watched them.
Anyways, if you look at the cover picture on Google Images of the '84 movie The Return of Godzilla, it almost looks like some kind of Navy battle movie.
Hmm.
If you was to look at it, just the way it looks, it kind from at first glance kind of almost looks like some kind of Navy movie. But
Wait.
Space Godzilla, that definitely sounds amazing.
Yeah. The only difference for like the Godzilla and Space Godzilla is that The Space Godzilla has those two giant crystals on his shoulders. And like I said, in the Godzilla versus Violante, there are some fans who speculate that those spores when they entered the space, that was the one that created Space Godzilla. It's just it's some speculations though. I mean, I'm not really sure if it was that the cause of that. If I remember, there was actually one movie where, if I remember correctly, though, that he died and that his body turned into just bones. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't seen those original movies in, well, in almost 30 years. I was very young back then. I, despite they were only in Japanese and they were texted the subtitles of the movies, but I didn't even understand a single thing about it. Even if it was just when it just started first grade, okay, I could probably be a basic under some understanding, but I didn't even care. I just watched the movies anyways. Same thing when I first watched the very original trilogy of Star Wars. Same thing. There were titles in it, subtitles, but I didn't understand the language, or I may not even, or even those
I
before I
think
couldn't even read. And the same thing is for the Jurassic Park movie. The very same thing. Subtitles, English talking, before I can even understand the language, or even before I could read. The same thing. I actually still enjoyed watching those movies despite that. And so, yeah, this, so Godzilla original movies, the only ones I haven't seen that those were from the 50s and onwards. I only saw those were in colors. But like I said earlier, the only one out the Godzilla franchise movies that were only American, 1998, it's absolute the worst Godzilla movies.
hey,
I has
if I
I
had to
have
say so, I think Space Godzilla is probably the best one they ever did in color. Basically,
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, the other ones that they actually made, I don't think they're bad at all. When they
mm,
introduced King Dora in the Japanese version in
King
color,
Kong as well.
I never see King Kong one of Godzilla version.
All right.
But what other two big?
I mean, Mecha Godzilla, the 74, I think was not bad because it does look like a good robot version of him. But against Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, I'm not sure about the animation on that one.
Mm, yeah, well, you're not wrong on that. Even
But
so,
still, but still, if if I was to ask you, maybe do like a Godzilla movie quiz, I would definitely recommend Space Godzilla as one of the movies.
mm, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. And considering that Godzilla has been around for since at least in Japan since the 50s, they were actually pretty not bad at all. I just hadn't even seen those very first ones, but I liked Godzilla as a kid. I
Mm,
wasn't even scared. I mean, King Dora, Mothra, and others and everything were. I mean, even though that Godzilla vs. Bellante, or that came out in 1989. That was in before I was even born.
hmm.
But despite that, I liked the movie. It was pretty good. Which other do you pick from this?
Sure.
He's an American actor.
E, just for the heck of it.
There were actually, I just looked it up, there were actually one unproduced 3D movie of Godzilla titled Godzilla King of Monsters in 3D. Was never It was never made. Oh, I also find out that there were actually one Marvel movie called Batgirl was actually was produced, recorded, and everything. That was complete. But the thing is, it never was released to the public. Never. Kind of weird. Two E's. The Godzilla versus King Dora, like King Dora, was actually from 1991. It was pretty good. There, there is the most recent Godzilla movies they actually made called Godzilla Minus One. I had not even seen that one, and I may not even do.
R,
You say R, two R's.
Mm, A.
One A.
I don't give a damn if this letter is in the puzzle or not. If it sounds funny for a name, I'm going to say D.
She said D.
I don't care if it's there or not. Look at you.
Read the Diablo. Huh. Well, 1D.
Oh,
You say O. Read O Diablo. No O's.
Rito the Rodeo Diablo. The Rodeo Diablo clown.
Smart ass.
Maybe an I.
No eyes.
Mhm. I'm sure there was an O or an I. Look at that last name. Unless there's a U.
So, what letter do you pick?
I only went with O and I because look at the last name. There has to be something before that R. Um, unless it's a U, or or if you put that E in the wrong spot.
Nope. You're on the right spot.
Mm, 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 mm. Mm. Tell me there's a clue to this, like a hint, like a movie he was in.
He was actually in several movies. Say like Flying Virus, Bloodsurf, Time Master, uh, Peter the Kid, The Monster Squad, Airbud Pup. He even appeared in several TV shows like Wizard and Warriors, V,
N.
uh, you say N, 2N.
Because when you said, you know, because when you said World Pop, the like the Airbud film, look at it. I think I may know who. Is it
Well, I,
Duncan Regger? And that's as best I can say his last name too. Duncan Regger.
you mean this guy?
Yeah,
Yep, it is.
that that was as best I could say his last name. By the way.
Yeah, I only recognize it from one thing. That is not the. I recognize it only from one TV series that was on TV from 1990 to 93 as Zorro. He did end up appearing in Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and also in well, that's the only two, but in Zorro is the only one I do in fact recognize him from, and at first thought that he was an American actor, but turns out he was a Canadian. I was wrong on that one. But he was a good. He is actually a really good actor. But
Mm,
the last movie he was in 2009. The last series he was in 1997 to 98. So yeah, he I don't know if he's retired from acting or anything. He's well, he might be retired after all. He is 72 years old. Yeah, so I thought maybe it's time to end the stream here. Anyways, 2 hours and 15
mm.
minutes. Well, it's a bit sad that that game guy was in here, but yeah, I don't really much to blame him on that since having a sore throat, it's nothing to play with. And I know that for my own experience. It's not fun at all. So perhaps we might be able to do uh, perhaps some Hangman or Smash and Pass or something like that tomorrow, or maybe something else. Who knows? Well, everyone, it's been fun. So until next time, this is Switch Download signing off. Bye.
Bye.